Hello and welcome to the Boy Scout Troop Annual Program Planning Webinar. I'm glad that you could join us. My name is Eric Peterson. I serve as the Director of Field Service, overseeing the field operations in the Bay Lakes Council. My contact information is there on the screen, and it will be there at the end of the webinar as well, in case you have any questions that you'd like to contact me, like I said, either via email or by telephone. For the next 20 minutes or so, we'll be talking about unit program planning. We say that planning is bringing the future into the present so that you can do something about it now. Quality scouting programming begins with program planning. Unit program planning is the annual process where the unit invites all families and scouts to have input in the program and activities of the unit. It is also the process of selecting great activities, developing a unit calendar and budget, and sharing that plan with all the scouts and families. During this webinar, we will be talking about these 6 areas: why program planning, the Journey to Excellence program, the needed materials and available resources that we have for you, the step-by-step process to plan your program, and then after the program is planned, how do you fund that? And then finally, communicating the plan to the scouts and families and other necessary people. Now, we've all heard the adage, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And certainly, you did not join scouting to fail. And so we want to be sure that you plan your annual program so that you have success and your scouts have success. We need to remember that scouting is a game with a purpose, and a well-planned program will make it fun for all scouts and keep them in the program. It will also make it easier to find other adults to help volunteer and run the many different programs throughout the year. Next, we want to talk about Journey to Excellence, or sometimes we refer to it as JTE. Journey to Excellence is a national award that all troops throughout the country can earn. It's also a recognition of a strong program and an outline for success as you use this tool to help plan your annual program. And so what we'd like to do is show you what the scorecard is all about. First of all, it has 13 objectives or keys. And as you take a look at it, ranging from advancement to camping to the patrol method or fitness or budgeting, whatever that might be, we find that the troops that do a majority of these or even all of these are going to have a great program. So let's take a second and look at the scorecard for those of you who may not be familiar with it. Again, there are objectives, 13 of them, that troops can work towards. Now, for those of you who have been around for a few years, you might remember the Quality Unit Award. Now, that was more of a pass-fail. You either achieved it or you didn't. One of the differences in Journey to Excellence is that there are various levels, similar to the Olympics, where they award a bronze, a silver, or a gold level. And so, for example, let's take advancement, which is a key to scouting. And if the troop has 40% of the boys advanced, that's a bronze level, which then correlates to a point total over here, or 75 points. Now, if a troop has the gold level, or 50% of those boys advancing, then the troop earns 300 points for that level. So as you go down, as you take a look at the various areas, let's take a look at service projects. If a troop has 4 service projects, that's the bronze level, which will earn the troop 50 points. If they have 6 service projects, they will earn 200 points. And so what a troop can do is take a look at the various areas and include those in their annual program planning. And then when they recharter, they can go through, they can see what they have accomplished, and then they can add up the various points. And as you scroll to the bottom, you add up the bronze points, the silver points, and the gold points, get a grand total. And then if you earn at least 700 points, you're a bronze Journey to Excellence troop. If you earn 1,600 or more, then you're a gold troop. And so this is a great tool that your scouts can use. And then on the second page, if you're not sure what exactly each objective means, that gives you an idea of what you need to do to accomplish that. So that's a great tool that your scouts can use in looking at their annual program planning. Now, we obviously need some materials to make sure that we're ready to plan. And so, first of all, that Journey to Excellence scorecard that I just showed you would be very important. A blank calendar so that your scouts can write down the various activities, troop meetings, campouts that they want to participate in. Council and district calendar, and we'll go to the new council website in just a minute and show you those features, which have been vastly improved. We also encourage you to gather the school district calendars, the church calendars, and any community calendars. My son is in a local Boy Scout troop in a small town. Many of the scouts are involved with music or sports, and so we want to make sure that we don't schedule a camp out over a band concert or over a sporting event where a majority of the scouts will be participating. And then if your troop is chartered to a church or to another organization, making sure that you don't conflict with a major church event. There's also the troop program features, which we'll show you in just a minute, and then also the troop resource survey. For those of you who are not familiar with the Troop Resource Survey, let me show you what that is, because it's a great tool that you can use. This resource survey is utilized and given to all of the adults in the troop, not only the registered adults, but also the parents and members of your chartering organization. This way, the scouts can participate in a variety of activities, and then you as the scout leader may not be an expert in those activities. You can take a look at the Troop Resource Survey, find out what adults in your troop or in your chartered organization that have an expertise in that area, and then you can invite them to come and participate in that particular activity. So that's a great tool that many troops use throughout planning their program. The next feature, some troops use, some don't, and again, this is just a resource for you to use, is the troop program features. There are 3 volumes. Each volume contains a year's worth of program, and we will show you exactly what that features or what these features are and how to utilize them. Again, as you take a look, and I'll go back to page 1. As you take a look at the program features, you'll see that there are, again, 12 programs for the entire year. Now, you'll also see that there's 3 volumes, so overall we have 3 years worth of program. Now, if your scouts decide that they don't want to do everything in volume 1, they want to mix and match, that's perfectly fine. But each program feature contains activities for the entire month. Now, each feature book starts out with the yearly program planning, so if you want to review that, you can go right to the book and you can review what we are learning today in the webinar. We'll just kind of scroll through this. Here's a great sample calendar that you can print out and use. Some troops blow this up a little bit larger so that the senior patrol leader and the patrol leader council can use this in writing in the information. And then again, more information about the annual planning process, and then the troop meeting plan for your senior patrol leader so that he can then plan out each weekly activity. And then it gets to each month. And so as you take a look at these, and again, we're just going to go through these fairly quickly, it gives you week by week planning for the entire month. And so week 1, it gives you suggestions of what to do all the way through week 4. And then at the end of every program feature for that month, it gives you an outdoor activity, whether it be a day event or a weekend event. And so this is a great resource that if you're not using it, you don't have to, but especially for those brand new troops that might be struggling, not sure what to do, this is a great resource that you can use, and we'll show you where to find that. And it's downloadable right on our council website. Now, speaking of that, there are lots of other resources available. We're going to go to our council website, which is brand new, in just a minute here. There's also a national website, scouting.org. I find that sometimes it's a little challenging to define things on the national website, and so I go to my favorite search engine, type in what I'm looking for, and usually I can find it much easier that way. There are also thousands of troop websites. Now, your troop may have a website. Use that as a good communication tool, a resource tool for your parents and scouts. But you can also gain great ideas looking at other troop websites around the country or around our local council here. There's also a unit budget sheet, which we'll show you a little bit later in the webinar, and also council-sponsored fundraisers, the popcorn sale and the battery sale. We also have a unit commissioner, and for those of you who are not familiar with what a unit commissioner is, that's an individual that has been around scouting for a number of years, probably has been a scoutmaster or been involved in a Boy Scout troop and has some expertise, and that unit commissioner is assigned to your troop to help as a resource person. And then we also have the council staff, whether it be the office staff, that can help with registration or advancements or program or camping, or our district executives who serve out in the field, helping you in whatever way possible. So there are lots of resources available to you. But let's go to the council website. Again, this is a great tool that you can use. And so as we bring this up, hopefully it'll come up here. We'll see that it's been redesigned. There's lots of different features, and some of you are still getting used to that, but let's take a look at the calendar. So if you take a look and click on the calendar right here, it will go to the council calendar. And the neat feature, if you haven't seen this before, is that you can take a look at whatever's happening. Here's the different months. Again, if you want just a drop-down box to find out what's happening in June of 2013. But this nice feature here is right under the Bay Lakes Council BSA. It says select other calendars. So let's say you're getting ready for your meeting with your senior patrol leader, and let's say you're in the Ledge to Lakes district, so you want to see what activities are happening there. You want to see what activities are happening in the Bay Lakes Council, and you've decided to attend Bear Paw Scout Camp next summer. And so these are the different calendars that you want to see. And so if you select these calendars and then click on View Selected, what will happen is it will bring up just those 3 calendars that you selected, so you can see what's happening throughout the Bay Lakes Council and throughout that district. And then you can click on whatever event is on there, and as you can see, it will give you additional information. And then you can even register online for these different events. For those of you who are going to a Bay Lakes Council camp this summer, you'll know that we have online merit badge registration. So whereas before you would show up and the scouts weren't quite sure whether they wanted or whether they were going to get that merit badge they wanted to, now doing the online registration, you can guarantee those scouts will know exactly what merit badge they'll be working on before they even show up to camp. So some great tools here. And we invite you to check this out. Now, if we go back to the home page, you'll see that there's have you customize your profile. So I'm going to click on that. And for those of you who have been with us for a year or so, you'll notice that you no longer get the monthly newsletter, or the bi-monthly newsletter. Because we found that sometimes this was a bit overwhelming to some new families or leaders. They just wanted information related to Boy Scouting or to the Order of the Arrow or what have you. And so what we're asking you to do is to go on to the website and create your profile of information that you want. And then that information will be sent to you directly through your email. And so you won't get information about Cub Scouting if you don't want that information. Again, this is a step-by-step information process where you can go through and follow that. We won't do that all today, but I encourage you to go on there, create your profile so that you can get the information that you desire. So going back, the final thing that I want to show you on our council's website is under Program Resources. You'll see there's a drop-down box, and then you click on Unit Program Planning. And then what will come up as you scroll down is all of the resources that you need for troop program planning. And you'll also see, as you continue to scroll down, here are all the program features, volume 1, 2, and 3. And again, if I was to click on this, it would come up. So free for you, there's no cost, is all of the program features that you need for 3 years. But going back up here, again, here's the Journey to Excellence scorecard that I showed you earlier. The budget worksheet that we'll show you in just a few minutes, the planning guide, and this is a downloadable PowerPoint that you could actually show your patrol leader council if you wish. Now, I will warn you, it's a large file, it's a zip file, but it's a great resource that you can show your scouts as well. There's the sample planning chart that you can use, conference agenda, a letter, so that the senior patrol leader can invite all the scouts to that planning conference, and then that troop resource survey. So all the materials that you need are right here on the council website. So hopefully you'll go on, if you haven't already, to check that out. So going back to the webinar, we've gone through the available resources that you can use, and so now we need to start the process. Now, certainly there's going to be some planning that's involved before you get to this conference. I recall reading that Abraham Lincoln said that if he had 6 hours to chop down a tree, that he would spend the first 4 hours sharpening the axe. And so it is with program planning. We need to spend a significant amount of time in preparing for that actual conference, that event that we're going to have happen. And so what we need to do is we need to make sure that, number one, that the program planning is run by the youth, because Boy Scouting is youth run. So this annual planning conference will be planned and run by your patrol leader council with your guidance as the Scoutmaster. You want to make sure that you do the research on program planning ahead of time and also to get the patrol's input. Set your troop program planning conference date, consult the unit committee and the charter organization with plans and get any ideas from them with dates, things like that. And then also think of ways to fund the program. And then finally announce the plan. So again, this is the process that we want to start. And then with your guidance, you help the youth through that process and give them any advice on calendar dates. The scouts and the adults should work together to gather those dates that will affect the troop calendar. You'll also want to make sure that the program is planned around the troop goals, and also reviewing the ranks of the scouts in your troop to make sure that they're advancing. The troop resource surveys that we showed you earlier, and also the program features, are great tools that your scouts can use when planning their program. And we want to make sure that the senior patrol leader, and if you have a junior assistant scoutmaster, which is a youth that can also help, work with the Scoutmaster and the troop committee on reviewing the calendar once it's drafted and help throughout that process. Now again, remember that the senior patrol leader takes charge in all this process, and he will then bring that plan to the Patrol Leaders Council to review the year-round calendar. Then what we ask the patrol leaders to do is to share that plan with the members of their patrol to get their input. What do they like about this? What don't they like about this? And if there's any additional programs that they might be interested in. And so the patrol members then give that information to their patrol leader, who then passes that on to the senior patrol leader. And then the senior patrol leader and the Scoutmaster can work together to set the date and the agenda for the program planning conference. Now, who attends that conference? So as you can see, kind of backing up a little bit, there's lots of preparation that needs to take place before the actual conference happens. Now, making sure that we have the right people attending, certainly the Scoutmaster needs to attend. Any assistant Scoutmasters will attend. The senior patrol leader, assistant senior patrol leader, the patrol leaders, and then if you again have a junior assistant Scoutmaster, they should all be attending. Now this is the step where your troop program comes alive. The success of this conference begins when you, the Scoutmaster, prepare your senior patrol leader. We want to make sure that you're alert throughout the conference to help out the senior patrol leader. Don't wait for him to fail, but be careful not to take over for him. Be sure that careful coaching will help ensure that your senior patrol leader builds confidence in himself. And so we want to brainstorm as the Patrol Leader Council gets together, pulls out that calendar, that blank calendar, and starts putting in the weekly meetings, the monthly activities or campouts, the service projects, week-long summer camp, the fundraisers. Be sure to to look at the Journey to Excellence objectives. What scouts need to advance. Is there leaders that need to be trained, both adult and youth leaders? We have the national youth leadership training that's available for all youth leaders as well. Outdoor programs, camping, service projects. So making sure that everybody gets an opportunity to brainstorm, to put their activities forward. And then once the program is planned, you have everything on your calendar, you need to take a look to say, okay, now what is it going to cost to have this program for each of the scouts? And so we've developed a unit budget sheet. This is a very simple sheet. Again, it's on the council website. But taking a look at that, you'll see it's very simple. Now, if you have a budget worksheet that you enjoy, that works for you, that's great. But if you don't, we encourage you to check this one out. First of all, you want to enter all the activities and the cost per scout. Remember, that's the key to this budget worksheet. And so, for example, let's say that we're going to do a service project in the month of, if I can spell project here, in the month of October. And that's not going to cost us anything. And then in July, again, we're not going to fill in all the dates, but in July, we're going to attend Bear Paw Scout Camp. And that will cost each scout, because we're going to take the early bird fee, is at $265. Going back up into April, we see on the council, or the district calendar, that there is a spring camporee. And then we find out, once we clicked on that, that the spring camporee will cost each scout to $12. So again, you go through, again, I can't spell camporee, we won't worry too much about that. And you can then fill in the registration is $15, Boys Life is $12. Some troops provide parts of the uniform, maybe for those graduating Weeblos that cross over, they give them their first troop neckerchief and whatever. So say we'll put in $5 for uniforming. And then whatever it might be for advancement. So we'll just put it in the amount. So whatever that might be. Then you go back up to the top and you type in your unit number, the number of scouts that you have in your troop, and then the commission. Now this commission comes off of the council-sponsored fundraisers, the popcorn sale or the battery sale. And let's say that we're going to do a great job qualifying for all the different incentives. And we're going to get 38% commission. And so after you put in all the activities and the cost per scout, and then you fill in everything else, what happens is this will automatically figure out how much it's going to cost the troop to run all the programs. So it's going to cost us a little shy of $6,800. Each scout will need to have $321 based upon what we've entered in here. And so our unit sales goal is going to be just shy of $18,000, and each scout needs to sell 850, rounding up, dollars worth of popcorn and batteries, which will then provide all of that program necessary. And the important part of this is that it also teaches the scout to earn his own way. It also can be a great tool to communicate to parents, letting them know that if they help their scout, sell the popcorn, the batteries, things like that, and they earn that sales goal per scout, that all of the program on their calendar can be paid for. So again, that's a great tool that you can use as a troop. If you do have a budget, we encourage you to review the prior year's income and expenses just to make sure that, that things are taken care of. If you decide to do other fundraisers besides the Trails End popcorn sale and the battery sale, there is a unit money earning application that gives guidelines on what you can and can't do as far as fundraisers in the Boy Scouts of America. And again, that can be found on the website. And again, we mentioned the council-sponsored fundraisers. So we do the fundraisers, and you might say, well, what's the money for? And you say, Eric, well, we know exactly what the money for. It's for programming. And that's exactly right. We want to make sure that the money that is raised by the scouts and families goes back to provide that program that the scouts have spent planning for. Now, you may say that's very obvious, and yet this is exactly what we do in our troop, and that's great. But unfortunately, some troops don't understand that. And in my experience in professional scouting, in working with a variety of troops around the country, sometimes troops fold because they can't get enough adults or boys interested in keeping things going. And so we go in there, we talk with the leaders or the charter partner, and we find that this troop has, in some instances, I found, literally thousands of dollars in a troop checking account. And we just think that, what would have happened if those dollars would have been used to provide programming for the boys? Chances are that troop wouldn't have folded, and the troop would still be around today. And so, again, we encourage you to use that money to give it back to the boys so that they can have the great programming that they've planned for every year. Now, there are, again, calendars and budget worksheets on our council website, resources that you can use. Again, those are just samples. If you have ones that you enjoy, that work for you, that's great. But for those of you who don't have that, there are resources available that you can use so that we can make it as easy as possible. And then once the scouts have planned out the program, they figured out how we're going to pay for it and how much we need, then this is a great opportunity for the senior patrol leader to show that leadership, to then stand in front of the troop committee, the charter organization, and present that plan to them for their approval and for their support, because we certainly need the adult support in helping these scouts have a successful program. And then we encourage, once that's approved, to share that calendar and the budget with the parents, with the leaders, with the scouts, and with the scouting district and the charting organization, so that everybody knows what's happening. Doing that through email. You have a troop website. We encourage you to put that on the website. But again, it's important that we communicate the plan so that everybody knows what's happening and when. It gives you, again, a simple overview of what's happening in that Boy Scout troop. So that kind of concludes our webinar for today. This kind of hopefully will give you a simple overview of a very important part of the scouting program, and that is annual planning. I hope this has been helpful to you. Again, if you have questions, I would invite you to email me at the address that you see on your screen, or give me a call. I'd be happy to answer your question and help you through that process. We also would invite you to then email me your name and troop number. And the reason we want you to do this is that our goal is that every troop in the Bay Lakes Council gets trained in program planning. And so after this webinar that you've been viewing, if you would then take just a minute and email me your name, your troop number to my email, so that your troop will be counted as being trained. And then this webinar is a new method that we are using to train volunteers like yourself in program planning. And we want to make sure that this is an effective tool in doing that. And so to help us improve this webinar, to help us improve the training, in that email, please include any comments that you might have of how we can improve this process. Again, thank you for your participation, and good luck with your troop annual planning conference.